This is a C1 level news, so I will be talking English only, and I will talk at C1 level. I won't talk at C2 level. And yeah, let's start. Artificial intelligence, AI. The increasing ubiquity of artificial intelligence in our lives is creating waves in academia. Increasing ubiquity. Ubiquity means something is everywhere. You can see it everywhere, right? Wherever you look, you see that. It means when that happens, that means ubiquity, right? The increasing ubiquity of artificial intelligence in our lives is creating waves. The increasing ubiquity, so it's becoming more and more, more and more. If we said decreasing, it would be less and less. It would be becoming less and less. So this situation is creating waves in academia. Academia means in universities. 3 universities in Australia have adopted what seems like a landmark policy. So they have adopted a policy. Adopting a policy is it's a phrase, right? Adopt a policy. It means policy is, you can think of it. It's a word similar to strategy. Strategy. You can understand it like that. And adopt a strategy is also a phrase. Adopt a strategy, adopt a policy, adopt an approach. It means you start applying that strategy, you start applying that approach, etc. So Australia, the 3 universities have started applying a policy. What is that policy? And it's like a landmark policy. Landmark. This is again also a idiom or phrase, I can say. It means, landmark means something that others can imitate, something that others can look and take it as an example. That's a landmark thing. That's a landmark event. That's a landmark policy. Okay. The 3 institutions are allowing students to use AI when taking assessments, albeit under strict conditions. Allow, it means let them. So the 3 institutions, the 3 universities are letting the students use AI when taking assessments. Assessment means exam. Albeit it means even if its meaning is closer to even if. So even if it's under strict conditions, they allow it. And strict means very tight rules. Very tight rules. There are rules on how the students can use AI, but even if it's under that situation, it's still, the AI is still allowed. Professor Romy Lawson said, instead of banning students from using such programs, we aim to assist academic staff and students to use digital tools to support learning. Instead of banning them, we aim to assist academic staff and students to use digital tools. So you should be able to understand this sentence. It's an easy one. It's a bit long, so maybe go slow. Pause the video and go slow if you can't understand it all of a sudden, but it's an easy sentence. The internet abounds with AI text generators. Abounds, it means it's popping up everywhere, right? Everywhere is those, you can see those things everywhere. So in this case, the AI text generators are everywhere. You can find them anywhere you want. Those can be used to create essays that look authentic enough to fool examiners. So these, it means the AI text generators, they can be used to create essays that look authentic. Authentic means real, right? So not fake, not artificial, but real, authentic. That look authentic enough to fool examiners. So these texts are real enough that examiners can't understand if they were written by the student or written by AI. The content created by these AI tools evade detection by even the smartest of anti-plagiarism tools. Evade detection. Evade means it's similar to avoid. So they can avoid detection. Evade, avoid, again similar. They can avoid detection by even the smartest of anti-plagiarism tools. So plagiarism means copying, right? So on the internet there are tools, for people who don't know. There are tools that check, did you copy your text, did you copy your essay from another article, from another source directly, or did you write it yourself, right? Those tools can find that. And now there are tools that measure if your text was generated by AI or if it's written by a human. And it's a constant war, actually. People who create AI text generators, they keep creating better AI text generators. Some are creating more humanized AI text generators so that the plagiarism tools can't tell the difference. And the plagiarism tools keep becoming better so that they can tell the difference. And many universities are using those plagiarism tools because they want to prevent AI's usage in homeworks, etc. It's a very interesting issue. I'm not sure what will happen in the end, but it's quite interesting right now. Artificial intelligence is posing huge challenges to exam integrity. Pose, it means uh, it's not actually a very necessary word here. So artificial intelligence is a huge challenge to exam integrity. You can understand it like that. It is the biggest disruptor. It is the biggest disruptor since calculators were allowed into math tests. Disrupt means break the order or rules of something. Something is working according to certain rules, and you suddenly break those rules and break the order of that thing. It means you disrupted it. So disrupt means that. It is the biggest disruptor since calculators were allowed into math tests. So since calculators, it is the biggest thing. The latest quandary for educators comes from a language processing chat box called ChatGPT. Okay, so quandary. This is the first time I see this word. I have never heard this word being used, and you will never hear it from anywhere else, I think. So let's look at it. So, okay. So, all right. So the latest quandary for educators comes from a language processing chat box called ChatGPT. By the way, if your English level is good, right, it's really good. You have your English knowledge is C1, for example. Even if you occasionally don't know something, and even if you don't look from the dictionary, and you can look from the dictionary, right? It's an opportunity to learn a new word. But even if you don't, you can 70-80% of the time you can understand it from the sentence, and the remaining maybe 10 to 15% of the time, even if you don't understand it, you can understand the meaning of the sentence, and maybe 5% of the time it will be a problem and you will have to look it up. Of course, it depends on the sentence. If it's one sentence only and it's a short sentence, you may have to look it up, but if it's a long sentence, it's different. All right. So the latest quandary for educators comes from a language processing chatbot called ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is the latest problem. This can produce highly authentic human-like content on any subject in seconds. So highly authentic means highly real, human-like content on any subject. Yeah, it's quite interesting. ChatGPT is very interesting, really, because you can make ChatGPT to do anything, and it just depends on what you order, right? If you say, for example, write me a text about this topic in this length, and it should be humanized. It should sound like it was written by a human as much as possible. And you can even do something like, for example, you put an example of what you wrote before to it and say, write similar to my style, right? Even that's possible. So it's very, very interesting. I feel like I'm giving tactics to students who want to copy. But ChatGPT, I think AI text detectors can find ChatGPT, so it shouldn't be a problem. It has sparked fears that students will use it to write essays. Spark fears, it means spark. When you are trying to make a fire, the red dots that come out at first, maybe from the wood, the red dots come out, right? But you don't see the fire yet. Those red dots are sparks. So, and spark fears, it means start fears. So here we can understand it as start. So it has started fears that students will use it to write essays. The University of South Australia's Dr. Topdemir said teachers needed to embrace AI. So he says teachers need to embrace. Embrace means hug, basically. But in this case, it means make peace with it, right? Don't try to fight it. Try to use it and try to integrate it into your approaches, into your educations. He said, you cannot stop it. The alternative is Middle Ages, going to pen and paper. Which is, this is that in all exams, you have to call the students, and in all homeworks, you have to call the students to the school, make them do pen and paper with supervision so that they can copy it from anywhere, and that's the only alternative as far as I can see. But it's not a very realistic alternative. You can do it for exams, I think, but for homework you can't. Homework is homework, right? Its name is homework, so you can't let students do it at school. And there are different solutions are needed. Okay, so he says you cannot stop it, and he added that universities needed to change with the times. Change with the times, it means as times progress, as times change, we change too, right? Change with the times. He said, it's like having a driving school, but teaching people how to ride horses. So he says, if we don't adapt and use AI, and he says, we can't keep up with the times, and it doesn't make any sense. So this is what he says. This is his opinion, and I am quite curious to see what will happen in the future in the universities in Turkey, in the universities around the world. But it's very interesting. It's definitely very interesting. All right, comment down below if you have any opinions, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.